Hello. I don't know if I'm live or not. I'm just having a little test. It's New Year's Day. Happy New Year. Is there anybody there? Just having a little test and waiting to see if anyone comes onto the chat. It could well be. Oh, I'm live. Okay. It could well be that I was going to say I'm not live. I've got one person watching. Oh, please say hello so I know that you're there. But yeah, I'm coming to you. It's 10 to 2 in the UK on the 1st day of January 2023. And hi Nigel, you're not too far away. Nigel, is it miserable where you are? I was intending to go up to the allotment and have a nice little rejuvenating video about, I don't know, about what we're going to get going this year. But to be honest, I've had the rotten lurgy all Christmas. It looks miserable out there. I ain't gonna do it. So I thought I'd stay here in the warm and just sort of say hello from here as well. Hi, Nicola. Hi, Steve. Oh, yeah, cold and soggy. It just doesn't inspire any gardening, does it, Nigel? Plus the fact it's the day after the night before. So it was a pretty late night last night. I think it was about 2:30 by the time we rolled into bed. So, so I think today's going to be fairly low key. Hi, Niall. How are you? Yeah, to be honest, good weather for cooking. You know, Steve, I had all intentions of making your Vapolita, your New Year's Day cake. We went to a friend's last night and everyone had to take a dish. But by the time I saw the recipe, someone else had already bagsied doing the cake bit. So yeah, we just took cheese. But yeah, I really want to make that. It looks dead simple, which is what I like. It looked really simple, really tasty. If you haven't seen Steve's New Year's Day cake, go and have a look at his video. But yeah, Niall, I was just saying, to be honest, I was going to do a video up at the allotment, but it's just, I feel, so yeah, I'm not inspired at all to go out there. So yeah. Have you all had a nice New Year? Probably too early to tell. Probably the the hangover probably hasn't worn off very well yet. But yeah, I'm just really quite excited about this year coming. I feel like the last few years has just been so weird, and all I've been saying for the last 6 months is, oh, it's been a really weird weird year for weather, and hopefully this year we'll be back to normal, whatever that means. So I know we've had that lovely spell of cold that I was cursing at the time, but hopefully that will have reset everything in the garden, reset all the bugs, got rid of all the nasties and everything like that, so that at least we've got that out of the way. I don't think we had it that cold last year at all, although apparently we had a very cold spring, but I've blocked that out. But yeah, it is miserable out. Oh, it's going to be hotter, Steve. It's going to be hotter in 2023. What, overall hotter, or just this summer? Because this summer I don't like heat. I found it quite unbearable quite a lot of the time. And I think if I had to compare, I know the cost of living and the cost of heating and everything's terrible, but if I had to compare keeping warm with trying to keep cool, I'd far rather snuggle up and try and keep warm. Don't do heat at all. So hi Rob, hi, nice to see you. Overall warm with possible heat waves. That's what we're heading for, isn't it? And here's me saying we're going back to normal. We've just got to all adapt what we're doing. Is anyone doing anything? Is anyone, in light of the change in weather last year, is anybody implementing anything new in the garden this year? Look at this, look. Can I just say, gold nails. That only happens once a year. They'll soon be full of soil, but yeah, that's quite weird. It just feels really strange. I mean, my nails are usually full of either soil or coal, but that feels odd. But yeah, how are you doing? Are you going to be putting more water butts up? Sprinkler systems? I don't know. I'm hoping to get some irrigation sorted out. I say this every year, but in the polytunnel, because we just could not keep up, or we just didn't keep up with the watering as much as we could. Watching the football. Is the football on now, Rob? Got no idea. Honestly, I don't know what day it is at the minute. Gold nails, you like them now? Yeah, honestly, once a year, just can't do it any other time. Yeah, Steve, you're saying you're sowing everything later this year. Last year, excuse excuse me, I've still got remnants of lurgy. Last year, I was determined to, let me see if I've got the book here. I was trying to do things more by the phases of the moon, if you remember. I can't find my book. And somebody very, very kindly sent me a book to do with what moon phases to sow things in. And I tried to stick to that. And it was really hard because I still hadn't sown the majority of my tomatoes end of April. It was still end of April. And so when they started, I was regretting it. Thinking, oh, why didn't I just stick them in? But to be honest, they all caught up and we were still cropping tomatoes October. It was crazy. But that was to do with the weather. It was to do with the fact they weren't attacked by blight at all. Because usually the later they are in the garden, the more chance they get of being struck by blight. But no, they survived really well this year. Irrigation, Steve, thank you very much. There will be irritation, clearly, with me and Mike there. But yeah, so I'll probably be sowing things a little bit earlier, but it depends when you mean early and late. I won't be sowing chilies. I'll be buying the plants, I think. I don't know. Because we only ever need a couple of chili plants. It seems daft to, look after 20 plants when we're not going to use them. But I think certainly things like tomatoes, I want to have them underway by March, which is the normal time, isn't it? Does anyone sow their tomatoes earlier than that? Yeah, Nicholas says you're going to put extra IBC tanks at the top end of the veg garden. Yeah, those IBC tanks. You have got to be careful, though. Just make sure, excuse me, just make sure that they're really, really, really flushed out. You're going to put a greenhouse heater in, Nigel. Okay, well, in spite of the hotter weather, you could probably do air conditioning in there instead. Oh, the darts is on now as well. Oh, there you go. Hi, Steve. Nice to see you. Happy New Year. Yeah, Rob's asking about the IBC tanks. We got ours. How many have we got now? We've got, oh, crikey, how many have we got? We've got one. Have we only got one? We might have two. I think we've got two. And I think we paid 20 quid each, but you can pick them up for next to nothing. It just depends who you know. And, because they are like a waste. I suppose they're a bit like pallets. You can pick them up for next to nothing. But if someone's wise to the fact that you'll pay for them, you'll probably get charged. But yeah, I think ours was only 20 quid. What about you, Rob? Have you got yours for free or have you paid more? But yeah, what I was saying was with your IBC tanks, when we had ours delivered, the van could only get so far up that long lane we've got on the way to the allotment. And so it was put outside a neighbour's hedge, if you like, waiting for us to get hold of it and move it up to our bit. And it must have been there for about a week. And all the grass under where the IBC tank had been standing was dead. It was just dead. So something had obviously leached out of it. And even though, they're meant to be safe, and even though if we filled it with water, that would have diluted it X amount of times, do be very, very careful. Make sure they're really clean before, they start filling up. Hi! I always get your name wrong every time I say this. Charissa. Lovely to see you. Happy New Year. £100 each, Rob. Oh my goodness. Well, I am interested in that. Nicola, 2 free black with 50. 2 are free black with 50 IBC in Cornwall, often a lot more. And you haven't got any, Rob. Yeah, they are good. Steve, oh, you've got free water. That was one thing we really missed this year. I think I've said before. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my little footstool. You shouldn't give me a wobbly chair either. I do this all the time. Yeah, I've said before, one of the things that attracted us to our allotment when we first took it on was the fact it had its own tap. And it was just perfect. We could use a hose and everything. But because of the amount of problems they've had with the pipes up and down that great big long lane over the years, it was all the old Victorian, I think they were clay pipes. Every year there'd be a burst. Every year there was a big expense trying to fix it. And so now we've got stand pipes and we've got 4 down the lane. So it means having to go out It's not a huge hardship really, but we're probably the furthest away from any of the standpipes, which is why we want to gather as much rain as we can actually on the plot itself. 40 to 50 round. Yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, you've got five now. Sorry, train of thought. I keep thinking of something to say and then I'm reading the comments. Try a local, very large painting and decorating firm. Yeah, if you can pressure wash them, that's what I was just saying, Steve. Do be careful what they've had in them. If you can pressure wash them, brilliant. If you've got the water, have you got water on site, as in on your actual plot, Steve? Or do you have to go and collect it? What have we all got for water? Have we all got actual water? Do we have a standpipe? Is there no water at all? It'd be interesting to know. Because you don't miss it until you have a horrible, saying a horrible summer, such a dry summer as we had last year. You've got your mains taps. Yeah, that's like us then, Nigel. So I'm calling them standpipes. Is that what they are? Pipe with two taps on top. But yeah, you have water. Yeah, a lot of people. I think Vivi doesn't have. I don't know if they've got fresh water. She's always having to go to that tank and refill from there. Oh, Nicola, you've got your own 3.5 acres of land in Cornwall. My goodness me, that must be absolute. That's like a dream, isn't it? That's an absolute dream. I'm sure things go wrong, but it sounds fantastic. Hi, Billy. Yeah, it's quite impromptu, and I'm quite surprised that I've actually come on. It doesn't usually work. I was going to test out. I thought I'd just do a bit of testing. I bought myself a little headset. You'll laugh at this, Steve. You know, I was asking you about headsets because Steve, who I'm sure you all know, is master of the potty mouth chat. Him and Tony and JB and Audrey, and they've all got these huge, super duper technical looking headphones with microphones and interfaces and all that. And I asked Steve for some advice, and I ended up just getting what was on offer on Amazon. But it works. It seems to work. Okay, but I haven't got time to plug it in now because I wasn't expecting to be live so soon. Oh well, you've got a well. You've got a well. I can't say your name, Carissa. You've got a well. That, I mean, that's just something out of a fairy tale, isn't it? Or a horror story, depending on what film you watched. Hi, Victor. You've got main taps on yours. Yeah, I think as well. It was nice having the mains taps, but the water that you collect yourself is natural rainwater, isn't it? So it's not going to have all your chlorine and all your other bits and pieces you'll have in standard water. And hopefully the temperature will be right as well. Headsets are good to stop feedback. Yeah, apparently, Steve. How's the sound now? Because this is just the sound from my webcam. Hello, Bumblebee Adventures. Happy New Year. Yeah, it's yeah, this is just my webcam sound. I've had so many difficulties with my sound, but I've worked out. I think I've got it worked out that it's if I go live on Safari. I've got a Safari. It's like Google, but it's Safari. If I go live on that, my sound's all over the place. If I go through Google, it seems okay. It sounds okay. That's good. That's good. Hi, Adi. How are you? Pretty grim by you as well, I would imagine, at the moment, although I think it may have stopped raining. Oh, the sound's spot on for you. Thank you, Now. That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, it was Squeaky Jane. I know. I've had that many incidents of just sounding like a mouse. And yeah, I am actually quite squeaky today. My voice is only just returning. Yes, Niall, your award. That was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you all know Niall, and I'm sure you will have been to Niall Gardens, but he won an award for, it was at Best Young. What was it, Niall? What was it? Come on, type it in. Don't be shy. Up and coming brilliant star. It was something like that. But Niall got a national award this year, which is absolutely fantastic. I know Liz over at By the Farm got one as well. For, I think hers was either best blog or best vlog. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't think I get many awards this year for my gardening. I don't know. I was talking to the new talent of the year. That's it, Niall. New talent. New talent, Niall. That's fantastic, isn't it? I know. No, Niall, don't be embarrassed. You've worked really hard for that. You need to get it on a t-shirt and just casually wear it, to Tesco. Best gardener in a tutu. Very good. Very good. Yeah. One of the things I was hoping about. One of the things I was hoping to do today, or hoping to do this last week really, was do a bit of a review, which I always do of the last year. Hi, Lisa. Oh, I don't know about that, not at the moment. Is do a review of the year, what's gone right, what's gone wrong, and what my hopes and dreams are going to be for the garden next year. I was just chatting to Mike about it, and yeah, I'm still really excited about growing stuff this year. I haven't sort of thought, oh, a bit bored of it now, which is with me, I can get really, really into something and then I get bored with it and I move on to the next thing. Okay, so I've had so many different hobbies and interests, but gardening is one that, it runs right through. But can't remember what I was going to say. But I was thinking about what's gone right, what's gone wrong this year, and thinking about how I'm going to rectify it next year. I can't remember what I was going to say there. But what about you? What's been your biggest? Let's start with failure. What's been your biggest failure this year? I can tell you mine. It's been my onions. We actually ran out of onions. Oh, I think by the end of October. It wasn't a great harvest. I thought I'd stored them okay, cured them and stored them. Usually they're absolutely fine. Usually we're eating our own onions right through April, May. But I remember in November actually having to buy some from those shops, and that really irked me. But yeah, my onions have been terrible. I have to go and get a drink. Terrible this year. So that's been my biggest failure. What about, hello, Pintail Paddocks, Happy New Year. What about you? Potatoes. Oh, this year we weren't going to bother too much with potatoes, but before I knew it, Mike had filled up a whole load of buckets. And we did get a few nice ones. We grew some, what are they called? Rudolph ones, which Danny sent me from the Grapevine Garden. And I'd forgotten that we'd grown them until I was putting a little thing together for Instagram. And there was a clip of me actually harvesting them. And they were actually quite nice, but we didn't do a great big, we usually have a whole plot set aside for potatoes because we said, if I say cheap as chips, that's the most terrible pun, but there's something you can pick up relatively easy. And yeah, we just didn't do them. Oh, we did a few in pots, but yeah, we went to collect the ones in pots before Christmas to go and get them, and they'd all got frosted. I don't know if you saw Tony C. Smith's potatoes that he'd done in buckets. Also, just like his, he was picking his up and just squeezing them, and they were like sponges. There's just water spurting out everywhere. And yeah, so we didn't do them. We might not do them. It depends if we need the room this year. But brassicas bolted in hot weather, Nigel. That's a shame, isn't it? That is such a shame. Oh, pak choi and all that sort of stuff. Usually I planted some earlier in the year in the hanging baskets. They worked quite well. But then we planted some after the longest day, which is supposed to, because then they don't get the chance to bolt because your days are getting shorter and supposedly milder, not as hot. Does that make sense? Anyway, they went to pot. Growing sweet corn in a polytunnel, was that a failure then, Lisa? Did that not work? Because I've heard other people that they've said that's worked really well. Our sweet corn was terrible. You know what I'm saying about the onions being terrible? Then I've just said about the potatoes. Sweet corn wasn't any good either. And Steve, our beans were bad. They came so late. Obviously, we'd filled the trenches, we'd made sure it was really, really good, moist, rich soil, but they just weren't suited to this weather this year. So sprouts, we had to get sprouts from a neighbour for Christmas dinner, but that was fine. I was talking to someone about this the other day. What's nice is even if you've had a failure, if you're on an allotment site, it's quite nice that you can say, oh, oh, your sprouts look very nice. Would you like a Swede? You can do a little bit of bartering that way. So we managed to get a good range for our Christmas dinner. Sprouts. Oh, I'll come back to you, Rob. Hold on. Most of your veg garden. Well, Niall, that sounds like what I'm saying, pretty much. Squash, cucumbers. I mean, we're usually up to here in not cucumbers, courgettes. Not this year. And also, we planted our squash way too late, and then just planted it in the soil way too late. We sowed it late, we planted it late, we got nothing. So I've really missed actually getting some pumpkins this year. So maybe the potato patch will go over to pumpkins, or I might do something with pumpkins and beans. I don't know, but it needs pulling together. The day job went mad. Yeah, that's it though, Niall. You've got a busy job, and having to balance the garden. It's hard. Cucumbers, yeah, again, keeping up with the watering. Potatoes in containers, Billy, that's what we were saying, yeah. Cheap as chips, I got roasted. You still got 20 tubs of spuds to empty, Rob. Do you know that they're okay? Or have they been frosted? Have they, have you, what would you call them, tipped any out lately? Do you know that they're all right after that cold weather that we had? Lisa, yeah. Obviously, sweet corn needs a lot of pollination. You think every one of those little kernels needs pollinating. And if you're in a poly, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? Cold snap next year, bring the spud buckets into the greenhouse. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you stayed cool in Cumbria then, Steve? Oh, so that you probably had good beans and everything then, didn't you? Because that's what I was putting. I was putting the heat down to the bad bean thing. And likewise, who are you likewising, Steve? Is that house or green side up? Bringing the spud buckets in, I think. Yeah. Yeah, all mushy. Same here, Steve. Sarpo Mira are mush. Now, you see, I always think Sarpo Mira are just incredibly tolerant potatoes, but obviously not to the sort of weather we've had. And again, we're talking about this weather. Look at Canada. Look at Buffalo. They've had horrendous weather, but we're just used to being able to leave them, aren't we? All went mush in a day in the worm bin. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, lovely to see you, Niall. You have a good new year. Okay. See you soon. Okay. Hi, Urban White Buffalo Farm. Hello. Don't you'll remember, Billy says this, right? Don't you'll remember, Jane, but I planted cara taters for the first time. Lovely tasting. Oh, so you sowed too many in each bucket. Okay. All right then. So does that mean, how many did you actually get? Did you actually get any out of your buckets at all? Or did yours turn to mush as well? Hello, Richard and Paul. Lovely to see you. Happy New Year. This is an impromptu live that I didn't quite think was going to work, so I'm not really ready. And I haven't got a drink or anything. Rotten golf. Yeah, let me know, Billy. So I think for the buckets, we plant from the 12-inch like flower buckets, but we've got some big ones as well. But we usually put, say, 2 in a bucket. So how many were you putting in a bucket? Well, yeah, Steve, the freeze before Christmas, 1 year in 5 or 6, or is it going to be more regular? Are we going to be getting that more often? Because again, what's normal now? We just don't know. Maybe that is normal. Prophet of doom, hey? Hey? One thing I do know is I'm going to get some more thermal base layers next year. Yeah, Cara, I don't think we've done Cara. Oh, you put 4 in each pot then, Billy. You should still have got a good, still allowed some sort of harvest, excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves. Can't get rid of my frog. Are you having you're having a drink? Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Appleton's rum. Charlotte are my first. I think they're my first. I absolutely love the pink fir apple, Nigel, but They're a faff to clean up, aren't they? Charlotte are just brilliant. Yeah, Steve, the Appleton's rum. Mike and I, guess what our resolution is, and we don't do resolutions and we never stick to them, which is my only ray of hope at the moment. But we're doing Dryjanuary, whatever it is now. Apparently, one of the papers is saying all these people doing dry January, it's really bad for local pubs. So we should be doing a wet January instead. I don't know. I mean, it feels okay now because I'm still a little bit hungover and I don't really fancy a drink or anything now. But come to about 8 o'clock tonight with the fires on and I'm all snuggled down, I'm going to have to take up knitting again, keep my hands busy. Yeah, I wish my frog would escape into your pond, Nicola, because it won't. It's staying in here. 30-litre tub, 2 main crop. Yeah. Would you mind if I went and got a drink? You can talk amongst yourself. I'm trying to think if I've got anything behind me you can't see. I've got no underwear on the radiator. Okay, 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh dear, and here I come. It's funny, I say talk amongst yourselves, and of course I can't hear anything. I think they're not talking, but of course you hear. Can you hear the clock, Lisa? There's a clock right behind the computer there. Hello, hi Ian. No, not going to the loo. Sorry, it's Duncan. Where have I got Ian from? 9:20 in the morning. I know. Oh, that's better. Look at that. Cream soda. I should have put I haven't sipped it yet. Ice cream. Anyone used to have that? An ice cream float? That's what we used to have, though. Apparently that's in our household, that was called an ice cream float, where you either had lemonade or cream soda with a dollop of ice cream in the top, and it would go usually over the top. Fantastic. But that probably wasn't a proper ice cream float because we always had really bad versions of things, so most of the rum. Oh, Steve. Okay, yeah, so you're not going to be having rum. If you're going to have to follow a strict diet, probably. Cream set, yeah, with cream set. Well, this is cream soda. We never buy pop really, but the ice cream float with root beer. I'm not a fan of root beer. Isn't it quite aniseedy? Am I thinking about the right one? But this is nice. I will have a sip now. It's very nice, but I don't think it's done any good. Anyway, Christmas presents. Anything for the garden? Who got anything garden related? Because you know what it's like. If people know that you're into gardening, that's great, isn't it? Because they don't even have to think about your Christmas present. They can just go to a garden centre and pick something up. I actually got, oh, they're not here. I got some very nice gauntlet gloves. So basically gloves, they're sort of leathery here and they go up to here, which are brilliant for things like pruning. I haven't cut my raspberries back or anything yet, so I'll be wearing them. They do also look a little bit like when you see a murderer in the films, and but I won't be doing that. But yeah, so that was good. Gloves and boots as well, Lisa. Okay, what, like those little half welly things, or proper like gardening thick boots? Calendar. A calendar. What, a gardening calendar, Steve? What sort of calendar? Seeds. Oh, mushroom logs. Oh, hold on. Oh, this is 3 calendars. Just in case you get lost. I take it you've got one: shed, greenhouse, house. I don't know. Hurry knife. Oh my goodness, that would be one of the best presents you've ever had. Brilliant. That's what they're like, Nigel. They are like, if it happened to pass a pregnant cow, I'll be very, very handy with these gloves, or rather, I'd pass them to Mike and run off in the opposite direction. Yeah, that's just what they're like. Hurry, hurry, knife. 4 new tires. Okay, hi, Nancy. Handmade, hand painted trough from sister. Insides of loo rolls in a box. I love that idea. Oh my goodness, when we're all collecting loo rolls for our sweet peas. I haven't got my sweet peas in yet. Hi, Christy. Row covers and tomato covers, U-pins with circles on top. Yeah, okay, so you've got all your coverings sorted out. Charles Dowding calendar. Were any of these free with magazines? That's a really tricky question, isn't it? Because I I haven't actually bought a gardening magazine for ages, but I know that this time of year they tend to send things out with them. Oh, steel toe cap boots, Lisa. Honestly, I absolutely love my boots. They're not steel, but they're really tough toe caps. And I don't know if you can remember seeing them. They're so comfortable, and I do just love them. I feel invincible at the allotment when I've got those on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Cooking stuff for Steve. Good. We want to see the video, Steve. Good morning, Christy. Happy anniversary. Happy New Year. A hamper from Super Soil. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Hold on. Gold leaf gold leaf gloves. Not gloves with gold leaf on them. I was going to say they'd look pretty, but I don't think they'd be very practical. Not free. Oh, Steve, I feel really bad now. But yeah, that proves a point, doesn't it? Steve likes gardening. We'll get him a gardening calendar. That's it. Who was it said about it was Carissa said about the mushroom logs. I've not tried mushroom logs before, but I think it was last year I had a mushroom box with the kit where you just, I don't know, you open the box a little bit and then you water it. And I've got to tell you, I think they were oyster mushrooms. It was absolutely fascinating. Once you got over the slightly icky feel, fascinating to watch them grow. Because once they start to grow, it's almost like you could see them moving. They were that fast. And I have never tasted mushrooms like them from a supermarket. Oh, we go every now and then, we'll get dried mushrooms. So we get like a nice variety of fancy things in there. Or we might treat ourselves sometimes to a different sort of mushroom. But oh my goodness, these oyster mushrooms were like nothing I've ever tasted. They were fantastic. Why are they dangerous, Rob? Why are steel toe cap boots dangerous? Unless you're going, Lion's Mane, pink oyster. Oh, wow, you're going to love those. Let us know how you go on with those. Okay. Rob's saying steel toe cap boots are dangerous. I suppose they are if you're at the other end of them. Just on your feet, they're very handy. But yeah. Richard and Paul, what did you get? Come on. What did you get for Christmas? Did you get anything gardening related? Richard would love something gardening related, I'm sure. There we are. I got that. I've got my new. Oh, it's downstairs. My new 5-year diary, which I actually treated myself to for your video, Steve, for the top tip video. So this year, each time I put something in the diary to diarise what I've sown, which again, it wears off after about a month, doesn't it? But next year I'll be able to compare by looking on the same page. Excuse me. I've just been distracted by a message there. But it means I will be turning back and keeping in touch with what I've done in previous years, instead of writing things down in a diary, losing it, and then the next year thinking, oh, well, what did I do last year? I can't be bothered looking for the diary now. I'll do it this way, So yeah, you pick up from mushrooms. Oh, right, okay. Oh, you don't do presents. You're present enough for each other. You romantic pair of souls, you. Well, it would be a great tip, Steve, if I could find it. I haven't done my not mushrooms, onions yet. Again, Steve and Tony and JB all did the traditional Boxing Day onion sewing because the tradition, let me get this right, Steve, not for all the alliums, but just for your onions. Sow them on the shortest day, harvest them on the longest day. And I was determined to do that this year. And yet again, I haven't done it. And one of the reasons I haven't done it, this is my excuse, is that I didn't want to start my diary on like the 26th of December because that would skew everything up. So the onions will be the first thing I put in my diary. So yeah. Hi, Christy. Happy New Year. Oh no, Steve's on the jokes. Oh no. Okay. Oh, so you've done yours, Nancy. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else done their I'm ignoring you, Steve. I'm ignoring you. You're distracting me. Anyone else done their onions yet? This year we'll be doing a mix of sets and seeds. Because whatever you say, I mean, I'm so lazy. I just like to get the sets, pop them in, and fingers crossed. And it's always been Mike who's actually sown the onion seeds. And I've got to say, the ones from seeds just they stronger, they're more resistant to anything really. They seem really good, strong plants. They're bigger and they store so much better. So this year I'm going to hedge my bets. I'm determined not to have to go and buy onions from the shop in November. So we're going to have quite a few onions. Sadly though, oh Nicola, you've had flu. Oh, that's miserable. I've been miserable over Christmas, and now Mike's come down with it. It's not nice, but yeah, just keep yourself warm. Yeah, yeah. The only thing I did notice last year when I was digging up some of the onions, and it might have been to do, or the reason why they didn't store so well, we've never ever had white rot before. I don't know why I'm touching wood because I think last year there were some little bits of white on the onion, and it sounds daft, but I didn't really think because it wasn't on my radar. I'm always looking out for allium leaf miner because we do have that. But because white rot wasn't on my radar, I think I just saw there was a little bit of white on the onions. And I'm wondering now, looking back, if that was the start of white rot. And if it was, it's a shame because I've planted all the garlic where the onions were. They're probably going to get it as well. But yeah, we might try putting onions in one of the top beds instead of one of the edged beds at the bottom, just to try and break that cycle. I don't know what you can do. What can you do for white rot? I don't know. Our plot neighbour would probably just say, spray everything with Jay's fluid. That's what he does with everything. And even like, he won't mind me saying this. He thinks I'm daft because he says, when I've mentioned allium leaf miner, he has said before, and I know I've mentioned this before, there's only one way you can get rid of allium leaf miner, and that is to pour Jay's fluid, only a weak dilution, he says, but it's still Jay's fluid, into the center of the onion. So at the top of the growing spike, find the center of that and pour, and that'll kill anything in the onion. It'll probably also kill us, but apparently he doesn't have allium leaf miner. I wonder if he'll do that. Sets do tend to bolt. Yeah, again, Steve, if we're going to have that hot weather, we've got to take that into consideration. Multi-sow onion seeds, like Charles Dowding. We've done the multi-sow, Nicola, with we've done it with beetroot this year. We did it with carrots this year. Not all of them, but we certainly, let's put it this way, we didn't thin them out as we usually would do. And they've grown quite well. You get a lot and they're a bit smaller, but that's fine. You know, you don't want a great big onion if you're just cooking a meal for two. Yeah, there's still plenty of time, Christy, to get your onion seeds in. There's no rush. Hello, Liz. Happy New Year. Okay, Liz, I'm just talking about, I think I might have white rot. Well, maybe I have. Maybe that's what this is. White rot, water with a garlic wash. Now I know garlic's good for a lot of things there. Gone in 2 to 3 years. Is that just like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I can't think. Medicinal, not medicinal, but it is very cleansing, isn't it? What's the word? What's the word? Yeah, it's still 2 or 3 years though, isn't it, Steve? And you're sort of thinking, I don't know. There must be some sort of companion planting that you can do that would help with white rot. There must be. You can companion plant to get rid of most things, or try and get rid of most things. I think the thing is as well, because I only noticed it this last year. Hopefully it hasn't really taken hold yet. I only noticed a few little bits and pieces. So we'll see. But yeah, I might try that garlic wash. Oh, elephant garlic. Honestly, Nicola, it's so expensive to buy the actual bulb. I didn't put any in last year. I tried putting the bulbils that you get off the top of the garlic, around the neck of the, oh no, they're around the bottom as well, aren't they? Anyway, the little tiny cloves that don't come to anything the first year. And you're meant to be able to put your bulbils in so that over the first year they develop into cloves, and then you can plant those cloves as you would any normal garlic clove, and then they will develop into elephant garlic. So 2-year process. Anyway, none of them came. So that was the end of that. So I think I have got one elephant garlic bulb in the shed somewhere that I didn't plant last year. I wonder if that would still be viable, because otherwise I've got none. And from I had about 12 gorgeous elephant garlic bulbs a year or two ago. And I thought, right, that's it now. I've got stock forever. I'll keep going. No, they've gone. If it feels like they've got too much elephant garlic, it is an absolute treat to grow. Okay, let's have a look. You've never said, yeah, Billy, a lot of people do. Your neighbour's dad used to sow tomatoes on New Year's Day. Well, that is early. Okay, I'm assuming then that he had grow lights or a heated greenhouse or something like that he could then keep them in, because this is the problem when you plant some things too early. They're too big too soon and you've got nowhere to put them. Okay, Nigel, let's have a look. Rob, you use Jay's fluid. Well, good luck to you. My neighbour swears by it. Honestly, he uses it for everything. But I'm not, I just don't want to go down that road at all, because I want to try and keep it as organic as possible. And obviously with that, you're going to have to take some casualties. So, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on. Nigel's saying, the guys at Robinson's, first sign of white rot, they remove the onion. I get it now, Nigel. With a huge soil root ball. I think you mean root ball. That's your autocorrect for you. I was wondering what a huge soil root ball was. But yeah, that makes sense. So the affected onion, yeah, get the soil out of there. So physically remove it and replace it with their own compost. That makes sense, doesn't it? But if it's on every single onion, I don't know. Just because we've only had a touch of it. Hello, Lorraine. Lovely to see you. Happy New Year. Especially Rocky. Rocky has actually been for a big long walk this morning and he's shattered. So we grow long day onions. So we start them in February and harvest in September. Okay, long day onions. That's what we would call then our summer onions, not overwintering onions. I'm assuming February to September. Then you've got 7 months. It's about the same growing time, isn't it? Malcolm cuts up white rot plants and puts them in the soil. Hold on. Okay, Malcolm, so I'm assuming Malcolm Kingswell, cuts up white rot plants and puts them in the soil, and then the following year it is so much better or gone. Not sure I can understand that, because surely if you're chopping up a plant that's full of rot and putting it back in the soil, that rot's going to spread. I don't know. I'll have to look into that one. Hey, Rue. Hello. Happy New Year. You're just in from the plot. I watched Rue's video before. Absolutely brilliant. Go and have a look. You've been seed sorting and planting. You're on the ball, Rue. You're 1st of January and you're out there sorting your seeds. I'm sitting in here with finished my jigsaw, and you just a little Christmas jigsaw with cream soda and no voice. Nice to see you. Yeah, I think that's the thing, Rob. If your family tradition, if you like, has been, and you've had tips passed down to you, we're always saying that, we've had tips, or doing it again. We've had tips passed down to us from family members or friends or whatever, and that becomes our gardening practice. And if that's what your dad did, Rob, then yeah, obviously that's going to be what you carry on practicing. Yeah, this Robinson's, it does sound good. I think, Steve, was it you or was it Nigel? Someone did a visit there. Oh, no, hold on. That was a compost place. Someone did a visit to a compost place and they were showing you all the different bays full of all the different compost, which was absolutely fascinating. But yeah, Robinson's is, it's up Lancashire way, is that? Yeah. It does sound brilliant. How large were your large onions, Nigel? Were you doing the exhibition size onions? Only growing about, yeah. Now in the kitchen, preparing veg off the plot, sprouts, beets and parsnips, and a saved onion for tonight's meal. My weather predictions, Christy, I haven't got any predictions anymore. They all go up this chute. I think we're probably going to have much of the same as we've had this year. Can I say sadly? I suppose, again, it's only sad if we can't deal with it, isn't it? If we're used to it and we can deal with it, then that's okay. We're prepared. I think the problem we have in the UK, or probably elsewhere in the world as well, is we have such a blooming scaremongering press that, they're telling us that if we're going to have like a warm afternoon in May, they'll say, it's going to be piping hot and people are going to die. And it's, you know what I mean? And we just have a warm afternoon. So I tend not to listen to the press about what the weather's going to be like. But yeah, I think this year for me, I will be more prepared for fluctuations in the weather. Probably going to have it hot again in the summer, aren't we? I don't know. We'll see. But I've got no predictions. Garstang. Oh, it's nice up there, Steve. Yeah, it's lovely. That's near you then, isn't it? Okay, onions bad. What does your hagstone tell you? Yes, I went to a lovely little Christmas fair recently that had loads of like handmade products, and I am going to say witchy type things. Lots of it was a big celebration of the moon. So there was a moon room that you could go in, and the paintings of the moon and cards and all that sort of stuff. It was lovely. And they did have for sale these lovely hagstones, which are basically a rock with a stone in. And I remember having one when I was young, just finding it when we were out on holiday. We called it a witchy stone. But anyway, these ones are called hagstones. On a lovely bit of a crochet, like a braid. And so I thought that'd be nice in Rue's shed. So I sent one to Rue there. But Rue, I didn't get one myself because they'd sold out. So I had two for you and Danny, and I didn't get one. So I can't consult my hagstone. You've got to go away and consult yours. Let me know what it says. But yeah, Rue again reminded me the other day. She got a lovely, I'm trying to find mine, Rue, a lovely almanac this year, like a seasonal almanac for the year ahead, which tells you, month by month, what the song of the month is, what the dress of the month is, what the story of the month is. It'll tell you the tides for that month and the moons and all that. It's fantastic. And I got one for last year. And Oh, crikey. I've just completely forgotten that several times now. I've lost my train of thought. I can't look away without being distracted by something else. Oh, it's just gone. But anyway, yeah, it had lots of traditions and nice things in there. And I think you'll find that really useful this year. Kelsey and Robinson's Mammoth. Okay. That's what I was saying though, Nigel. 6 weeks before rotting. I imagine you've got more problems with your bigger onions rotting because it's going to take them longer to dry out, isn't it? So if you're going to dry them completely, if it's smaller, you've got less of a body to dry itself. But yeah, so maybe that's it. But if you say you've had them after Christmas before, I don't know. You're going to have to go, Billy. Oh, am I stuttering and freezing? I am usually stuttering and freezing. That's without being on here. But yeah, take care, Billy. No, thank you for coming along. I think, yeah, that's the thing as well. Is we've just got to prepare, and that's the beauty of gardening. I'm saying the beauty of gardening, it drives us up the wall, doesn't it? But the fact that we've just got to make sure we're prepared. We're never completely prepared, because even when we think we are, something will hit us sideways from somewhere. Have any of you ever had a gardening season? I feel like if we were all in a room now, who would put their hand up if you've had a gardening season where everything has gone right? Say I. Can't see many hands going up. Mine certainly isn't. Yeah, so that's what we do. We have to, exactly, Rob. No such thing. Never. There you go, Steve. Never. I know. And that just goes to show, but we still do it. Why don't we get fed up and grow, walk away in a huff? There's too much to lose. There's too much good stuff, although it doesn't feel like that sometimes, Oh, well, Steve House, I'm just using the last of the overwintering onions from 2021. Never known any keep for so long. Only the year you fell. Yeah, Rue does have a unicorn, as well as horses, sheep and chickens. She doesn't show it very often. Oh, no. What is it you've got, Rue? Horses, sheep, chickens, dogs, and a tortoise. Let's not forget Victor. Yes, it is. It is an almanac. Rue, could you type the name of that almanac onto there for Christy, because it's called something, isn't it? It is showing off, Liz. It's called a something almanac. It's absolutely beautiful. The illustrations and everything are beautiful, and I've usually got it up here. Oh, I found the moon gardening one. That's the moon gardening one that someone very, very kindly sent me, which again, notes in there. I've got to take. I am really interested in it. I do want to get more into it, but I'm not going to be relying on it. But yeah, I can't find my almanac, which was up here, and I know it was here, Rue, because I showed you. Let's just see if it's in here with my box of things. No, it sort of had this sort of cover. Mine did. I think Rue's is a white one. Oh, that's it, Rue. Yeah, okay. The Almanac, a seasonal guide, Leah Lindertz. If you look that up, if you look it up on Amazon, this was. That's not it. Mine was last year's, but Rue, I think yours is a similar cover, but white, I think, as well. But well worth looking at. Lovely little present to yourself. Yeah, Steve, Nigel, that's what pale blue. That's what keeps us going, isn't it? We do just get bored. We would just get bored. I'm terrible. I would definitely get bored. I can't find that book now. Anyway, so I'm tempted to sit here and see, are there any questions that any of you would like to ask each other and put in the chat? If so, oh, look, Mike's bringing me a cup of tea. Thank you. That's a very good. Poor Mike's got the lurgy. He's staying off camera. Yeah. Well, we're all here. Let's just I'm looking up here. Have a little think about any questions you'd like to ask each other or me. And we'll see what we can do, because it's just so nice to have you there on such a miserable day outdoors. See that? I can't see that, but yay for Mike. I know. Mike is my saviour. He's just, look, I've got two, starting off with nothing. Look at that. Dig, plant, brew, repeat. Mike designed that ages ago, and it's one of those mugs. I don't really like it, but because he designed it, I feel like I can't throw it away. Might have to end up in the shed. Did Mike bring biscuits? Sadly, no. No, he didn't. And I know we've got a big thing of Posh Fox's biscuits downstairs. Oh, Lisa, yes, I was going to ask this. The Malvern show in the spring. Crikey, I can't believe we're talking about Malvern already. But yeah, I went to the spring and the autumn show last year. Both very different kettles of fish. Obviously, the autumn one is more veg. The spring one is more flowers. I don't know about going to the spring one. Is anybody else going? Half-time 0-0. I don't even know who's playing, Rob. 2 football teams, I imagine. Or is this the darts? Oh, Liz! Lovely to see you. Thank you. I'm glad it stopped raining there. I hope you're going to be able to sort your veg garden out sooner rather than later. So cleared leaves from the storm drains. That's a lovely New Year's Day activity, isn't it? But yeah, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming along. Okay, Spurs and Villa. Oh, that's why I'm not interested, Rob. Booked yesterday. Okay. Oh, you're not going. Oh, good. But you are going to Malvern, Liz. Okay. You're going to Malvern for the spring one. Can't again. Hold on. I've got the 2 drinks on the go. Oh, Liz, we're all going to start talking about you as well. So Liz is going on the Sunday. What day are you going, Liz? Are we going to have any specific days we can meet up? That would be nice. Question for Nigel. When you go to a New Year's Eve... Oh, no, it's going to be a joke again, isn't it, Steve? Malvern in the spring. Lol. I've never... Oh, so you've never done the spring one, Rue? Well, maybe we should make a date. Maybe we should. But for those of you who don't know, Rue and I are about 3/4 of an hour away from each other. So maybe we could meet at the top of the M6 or something and do like a little road trip. That would be quite nice. But yeah, oh, you're going as well, Steve. Oh, is it on the same? Oh, is it the same weekend as the Gardener's World one? Oh, I do like the Gardener's World one. Yeah, that'd be lovely, Rue. We'll have to make a date. Yeah, what a shame if it's on the same time as the Gardener's World Live, because I usually go there over the weekend. I do like the Gardener's World one. I don't know, it's got a different atmosphere. I think Malvern, it's more show gardens, whereas Gardener's World, it's probably a bit more tat, which I quite like. But we'll see. Oh, they're on different months. That's fine then. That's fine. Okay. Oh, Nigel, don't encourage him. Malvern is Malvern's mid-May. Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. Crikey, mid-May. You see, we're saying that's 5 months away, but it soon comes round. In my head, the calendar is like it's really weird. The calendar is like, okay, let's see if I can do this in reverse. I've got January, February, March, April, May, June, and then it starts to come back on itself. So here we've got summer, spring there, summer, autumn, and then winter at this end. So it's like a squashed oval. Is it? Okay, so for me now, we're in oh no, it's not January, it's down here. Anyway, we're back in January. So for me now, we're back on that curve towards May. Does that make sense? Does everyone else see the weeks and months like that? It's just me. I think it's just me. It's one of those things where you think everybody sees things the same way now. As I've got older, I think I see things quite differently to other people. Happy New Year, Steve. Thanks for coming along. Autumn's more child friendly. Yeah, I think you're right, Liz, because they have got the attraction of all the giant veg. They've got the animals there. I can't remember if they've got many animals in the spring. I think they, yes, I think they, oh no, I don't know, because they have all that stably bit with the animals in. But I know in the autumn one, there were tortoises. Um, so yeah, autumn is child friendly. Uh, giant tortoises. Oh, they were, Roo. They were. Yeah, and yeah, that's true, Liz. There's all the fun fair stuff as well. So maybe, I don't know. I think the spring one probably is friendly. But it's friendly when you've got friends. That's what's nice. So it was lovely. If some of you didn't know, we had a nice big meetup at the autumn show. We took a lovely photograph of everybody together. That was just really nice. Um, yeah, I would say out of the two, if you're taking kids with you, Christy, like Liz says, I said, yeah, the autumn one. Anyone spotted in the bargains in the garden centres? You know, Nigel, I have avoided garden centres like the plague for about the last 6 weeks. We've got some of you might have heard of Trentham Garden Centre. Excuse me, 1 second. It's got it's based on the grounds of an old hall. What is it, a hall? Yeah, which has got beautiful gardens designed by a famous garden designer, but I can't remember what the name is, that they've redone over the last few years. And as well as that, there's a big lake. And so it's got a huge garden centre plus a shopping village, plus you can pay to go and walk around the lake, and they have events on and this sort of thing. So it's quite a big thing. And I know over Christmas they've done a walk with lights. I think it's been mainly around the lake, but to drive down that particular road has been a nightmare for the last couple of months, with just people queuing to go in. It's dual carriageway on either side, and a roundabout, but the traffic has just been appalling. So that's our main garden centre. So I haven't been there. I haven't seen any bargains, but it's that funny time of year, isn't it? There's going to be a few bargains left from the autumn, and then it's going to be all the spring stuff's going to be back in full price. What about you? Have you had anything? Have you had any bargains that you can share with us, Nigel? Well, I don't know where you're going, Rob, but apparently it's the Tavern Autumn Show. Oh, lovely to see you, Lisa. See you soon. Yeah. Haven't been. Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, Liz, you've beaten me there. Haven't been to one since early 2020, just before the first lockdown. Yeah, yeah. Going to have to go. And oh, Nicola, you take care. I hope you start to feel better soon. Okay, Wilco. Yeah, that's it, though, you see. With Wilco, they were selling off most of their bulbs at 25 pence a bag. The thing is, again, last time I went to Wilco's a couple of months ago, but they'd already started putting all their Christmas stuff in. So the gardening stuff was just all like piled in a corner to make room for the seasonal goods. So I don't know if they'll have any left now. Oh, did you? You went to Trentham. That's the one I mean. You literally, it's a 7-minute drive. I've counted from our house, Nigel. Next time, if you're going again, do give us a call. You pop in for a cuppa. It'd be lovely to see you. Yeah, it's really nice. It is good. Birdie's beds. Oh, Steve, you were saying about these. £60 in dummies. You see, the thing is, Steve, for me, because you do a lot of stuff in your garden and outside, and you've got those beds at home with you, haven't you? For me, anything I'm going to spend on the allotment, I've got to be careful, because we never know, and I've mentioned this many times, when our allotments might just disappear, because they're privately owned. The man who owns them looks in fine fettle, and I, certainly don't wish anything on him, and I hope nothing happens to him. But if he did, we don't know if our allotment would be sold off, really, and we wouldn't have the same clout behind us as people who've got council run allotments have, where we could get together and save our allotments and stuff, because they're privately run. So I am a bit wary. It's like the whole extending the shed thing. I don't want to put too much money into it, or any money if we can help it, because if it did come to the fact that we'd have to lose the allotment, we've got nowhere to store stuff. Our garden here is so small. Yeah, I thought it had to be Melvin, although Tavern sounds great. tulip and daffodil bulbs. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Wilco's probably will have potatoes in. I don't know how many potatoes this year. I think we'll do, we said this last year, I think we'll just concentrate on new potatoes and first earlies. And then we can clear them away in time for other things to go through the autumn. Um, Maxi Crop liquid seaweed at £3 a bottle. Is that any good then? There is a really good deal at B&M by us in the summer, and I'm sure it was seaweed. Quite a big bottle, plastic bottle top. And I'm pretty, oh, it might not have been seaweed. It was something, but it was £3 a bottle. And in the local, what's it called? Home base, which has got a big garden centre, it was 10 quid. So do keep an eye out for things like that. Yeah, that's a good call. A big bag of perennials. Dwarf peach, you know, I've never grown a peach or an apricot. Can we grow peaches in this country or apricots just in it? Could you grow it just in a standard garden? Or would it have to be sheltered? So would it have to be in the poly or in a greenhouse? Or would it have to be against a south-facing garden wall? I don't know. I always think of them as being quite tropical and not very hardy. You've got your potato seed already, Rob. Wow. Okay. Hello, Homes and Gardens. Your dahlias are shriveling. Should I worry? It depends what you mean. Do you mean the actual tubers themselves? If so, I wouldn't worry about that too much at all because they're just drying out. Okay, as long as they're in a good dry spot. Saying that, I haven't dug any of my dahlias up this year. And the reason I said it, I take it you mean the tubers, is I haven't removed any of the frost damage stuff on the top either. And there's two reasons for that. One reason is I'm letting it stay on as a little bit of protection. Is that a reason? That's probably an excuse more than a reason. But I'm also a little bit scared about, well, I'm not going to dig them up now. I'm clearly not going to dig them up, but I do want to mulch them. But it's a bit touch and go as to whether I'll have the same dahlias this year or not. I did lose some last year. I dug them all up last year, did everything you were supposed to do with them, planted them in their pots, then potted them on, etc., etc. And yeah, I still lost some. So, but if it's just your tubers shriveling, as long as they don't shrivel too much, they should be okay. They should be fine. As long as you've still got the, what you call it, the eye at the top end, that's where your growth will come from. Because sometimes when you've got a huge tuber and bits fall off, it's tempting to keep the bits that fall off and replant them, which is fine as long as they've got the eye on, because that's where the growth will come out of. If the eye's knocked off, it's got nowhere to grow from. So I think you'd be fine. I think that'd be fine. You had peaches, Liz. I thought somebody did. Did you actually get peaches off them then that were edible? Could you actually pick a peach and eat it off the tree like you can with an apple? I'd love to do that. That might be something for this year. Oh, that's interesting, Nigel. Your local council has taken control of all allotment sites, including self-managed. Now, I wonder how this would work here, because this is actually just one man. So is that self-managed? He just owns the land and we pay him subs each year, if you like. But they're now allocating plots based on postcode and not how long. That doesn't seem very fair. Not how long you've been on the waiting list. That's not fair at all. I can see a campaign there, Nigel. I wouldn't be happy with that at all. Your friend's got both on her allotment, Christy. Oh, that's interesting then. Oh, you're in the winter wonderland. It's like Ali over in Toronto. She's just, and Audrey over in Detroit. There's just no way they can get any gardening done there. And I think in a way, until we got the allotment, even the last couple of years, we weren't going near it in winter. It was very much closed up in sort of September, October after the harvest, and we would revisit in March. But now, of course, we've got the chickens up there. So we do tend to go up, if not daily, every other day. Okay. 5 built, 1 to go. Is that the yeah, that's your beds. They look good. They look really nice. They look really sturdy. It's yeah, it is unfair. Peaches are grown in Michigan Zone 5. They did wonderful and was so delicious. We had edible peaches, but the peach leaf curl was awful. What causes the leaf curl? Is that a bug, Liz? Is that like a leaf miner that gets in? Or is that like a fungal disease? Council plots have always been postcode based. That's interesting that I suppose if they've always been postcode based, then that's okay. But if you've been on a waiting list for a long time, surely they should clear the waiting list first, to be fair, and then implement, a new system, but only after the backlogs being cleared. I don't know. You store your tubers in sawdust in your frost-free shed. Yeah, it works well. That's good. That's good. I know you can store them in sand as well, as long as you make sure your sand's nice and dry. Um, Rob, that is my dream. That is my dream. I would buy, if I could buy the whole blooming allotment site, I would. But yeah, to buy our actual allotment, I'd build a house on there. I would just love it. I would love it. I just read Christie's. I just lifted my dahlia tubers up as I saw what it looked like an exposed tuber. Turned out what I was looking at was a hen's egg intact that I'd buried in the spring. Must have come up at Halloween. I wonder if it's still viable. Have you tried sinking it and floating it and seeing if it's still fresh? I don't know. Oh, thanks, Steve. I haven't even looked to see how many people are watching. I can't see on here. For some reason, I don't know why. But yeah, give us a thumbs up. That'd be lovely. So, Steve, in Swindon, the allocation is done as. Got to finish that sentence, Steve. In Swindon, the allocation is done as. Oh, here we go. New applicants living within the parish. Second plot applicants living within the parish. New applicants living outside the parish boundary. Oh, right. Okay. So there's like a tiered system. Yeah, I suppose that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Oh, if it's something that comes down in the rain, Liz, you can't help it, can you? Yeah. So, mind you, you've got a polytunnel the size of the Eden project, so you can afford to get your peaches in there. I can't. The smell of peaches, ripe peaches on a tree. You are going to have that this summer. That is going to be fantastic. I know what it was like with our teeny tiny melons and our teeny tiny polytunnel, but the smell was incredible. But I imagine fresh peaches on a tree in a polytunnel, so you've got that confined condensed smell, would be absolutely lovely. Yeah, that tends to be what a lot of people do here. They prepare everything in the autumn, and then walk away and let the soil work its magic. But you put 6 inches of straw in the spring, put the straw in and start planting as early as you can. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we've got 34 here. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. Thank you so much. That's really lovely. Oh, so it is a fungus then. So what can you do about that, Nigel? You're saying you haven't bothered. I mean, there must be a reason why they're not as popular to grow as apples and pears in this country. So, okay. Yeah, I think in the US, they are community gardens, aren't they? Allotment is very much I'm saying very much a UK thing. Is it a European thing as well? I know Rebecca's got an allotment over in Germany. So is it, I don't know, specifically European? But I think community gardens are run slightly differently. I know Paul in London, his is a community garden and everyone has a patch of it. Mind you, he runs his like an allotment. But in community gardens, it's a case of, do you all work each other's land? Do you all sort of chop and change and help each other out? I don't know. But it's a fascinating history to allotments, Christy. If you're never going to book or go on Google and do history of allotment sites, it really is. It's an interesting thing. Okay. So put the trees in the greenhouse, try and protect them. Yeah, there will be. Rob, what would you do if you had peach leaf curl? I bet you sprayed them with Jay's fluid. I'm being very cheeky now. I'm being very cheeky. Yeah. Hi, Tufty. We are just community. All right, okay. So your community gardens are just basically small starter plots. Yeah, yeah. So you're not chopping and changing, because I know by my daughter's house in Manchester, they've got a community garden, and it's one that two people are responsible for the admin and sorting things out and storing the tools and whatever, but people can, from the community, can go along and take part and do some digging and do some growing. It's just trying to get everyone interested in the gardening, and and growing their own produce. And it's actually, I've mentioned it before, it's actually just quite a busy road, wide pavement, and then there's this grassy curb that's probably about 15 foot in width with a few trees on, and then it's a car park, and then it's the comically named football club called, are they called Football United? I think they're called Football United. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. So it's this very inauspicious little bit of land, 15-foot wide, and they're just moving along as they can. And an old man took it on a few years ago just to dig bits. He got the okay from the council that he could use it because it was just waste, litter going across and all this stuff. And so he started growing it. Then he became ill, and this younger couple promised him that they would try and do something with it and keep it going, and keep his spirit alive. I mean, he is still alive, I think. Well, if he's not, good on him. But but they've kept it going, and it started to grow as a community project, which is just wonderful. And we've stopped and talked to them a couple of times. Such a generous couple, so generous with their time and their knowledge and what they're doing. Lovely, really nice. Are you crying, Rob? Are you going to cry? Yeah, yeah. I would if I had peach leaf curl. Right, here's a question. Christy says, does anyone know how to get worms in the brown? This is a new build home and they remove the top foot of soil. Ground. How to get worms in the ground. This is a new build home and they remove the top. Christy, it's such a common problem that new build homes, the gardens might look brilliant for the first few months or year or so because they just layer a whole load of turf on the top. But if you start digging down, very, very often, you'll find it's just nothing beneath, or rubble or whatever. So the best thing I would say, you just need to keep adding to your soil and improving your soil. Get your compost on there, get your mulch, get your leaves, get your grass clippings, as much as you can, not all at once, but layer upon layer upon layer. And in the end, your worms will come. Build it and they will come. I'm saying layer on layer. We had the same with our allotment. I mentioned before, when we took it on, it had been ravaged. It had been so worked over the years in an inorganic manner. And this is what I'm saying, Rob. This is just for my way of doing things. I want to restore the organic balance with it. But it had pesticides, it had fungicides, it had all sorts on it. And it showed because the quality of the soil was terrible and there were no worms, or none that we could see. And we'd come from an allotment where the soil had been looked after, not by us, but by previous tenants, etc., who'd really looked after that soil for years and years and years. And so it was worm rich. And it was only when we moved up here that we thought, well, where are the worms? Why haven't we got worms in the soil? Worms live in the soil. Where are they? And we realised then, that's when I became very interested in soil structure, that they had nothing to live on. They had nothing to cling onto. The soil itself was like dust. It really was bad. So basically, it will take time to build it up again, but it will happen. They will return. If you want a quick fix, or if you want to really kickstart it, should I say, if you can get some really, really well rotted manure and get that down, because you can put that on a lot thicker. And, you might even in your manure, there might even be some things like red wigglers. And as soon as they start to realize they've got a new home, they should start coming up and down between the soil and the manure. And that's nice, isn't it? And yeah, once you've started to get a few colonising there. That was such a ramble. Christy, I bet you'd never wish you'd asked that. Let's just see. Okay, hold on. That's true, yeah. Plenty of organic matter. That, yeah, basically you've summed it up there in a sentence, Steve. That's what I was saying. Yeah, they will come in. They will come, but just need to be a bit patient. Improve your soil. Think of your soil as being hungry, because it probably is. Very small plots in the US community garden. Not every city has them either. Rare and hard to come by. I think as well, though, mind you, in the city it's different, but I know houses over in the States tend to. Now, this is probably rubbish. I'm just thinking of the films. They've always got a nice big backyard, as you call it over there, a nice yard at the back. Whereas compared to UK gardens, I think that's probably the thing. A lot of the houses, when allotments first started, there was very, very little land around your house. And that's why people were allotted a piece of land to grow food to feed their family. So that's why the whole size of the allotment is as it is, and the history behind it. So, like a lot of allotments now have stipulations that you cannot turn your allotment over to flowers. You cannot put too many hard buildings on it, whatever, hard standings, because the whole idea is, depending on your area, to provide food for your family. Whereas I think in the States, there was more land available, so it wasn't such a necessity. I might be talking absolute nonsense there, but that's how I see it. Very small plots. Oh, Rue's making a game pie. Yeah, Nigel says as well, Christy, top dressing well rotted and manure. Cardboard, yeah, get the cardboard down, compost. Yeah, Paul, how are your Cedric and Cedricitas? How are they coming? Have you still got your worm bin? I haven't seen your worm bin for a while. I mean, I suppose as well that's something you could think of doing, Christy. Get yourself a wormery. Grow your own worms. Okay. Okay. Oh, you've got 3 videos to edit, Steve. Well, that's just showing off. I've got none. That's one of the reasons I'm on now. Got no videos. It's been a poorly couple of weeks. I'm very, very busy. So, yeah, no time for videos. Okay, good. Nice to see you, Steve. Thank you. Good question from Liz here. Did you grow anything in 2022 that you won't grow again in 2023? And why not? Have a little think about that. I'm trying to think about it. I don't think I've grown anything I wouldn't grow again. Kale. Steve, what's farm kale? Oh, I love kale. What people are paying into, right? Okay, well, okay. Okay, Christy, you're not going to grow dwarf beans again. You never get much off them, but your pile beans, to take it your tall beans, are productive. Oh, it's that, yeah. The worms are doing well. What do you do with those worms then, Paul? This is what I want to ask. Once you've got your worms in your bin, do they just stay there? It's a very silly question. I've never actually thought of the next step. Or maybe I haven't, I've completely forgotten. But do you then go and put them on the soil? Do you actually dig them into this? I don't know. Okay, while you're thinking about what you don't want to grow again, Veg Plot Man says, just wonder what people are paying in terms of rent for their allotments. Here in West Yorkshire, we are paying £105. This includes £28 water charge. Yeah, we're quite similar. At the old plot, it was a half plot, and it was something like £35 a year with water. Here, it's the full size plot, and I think it's £70 a year, so it's comparable. But then for our water, it's something like £26.50. It's some sort of weird number. So we're getting up towards £100 a year, which for me, it's still a bargain. Rob, £20 for half a plot, including water, yeah. Nigel, £55 a plot, 75 by 25. Is that, so Nigel, is yours a full size plot? That's not a full size, is it? I know it looks big and you do all sorts on it, so you probably grow way more than someone with double that size, but so yeah, 55 for you. Tufty, not keen on cucumber. I do love it. I don't love it when it's too ripe and it's too watery. That's not nice. Sweet corn, too difficult. Oh, so that's a different thing then, Steve, isn't it? Too difficult to protect from the badgers. Yeah. Mini sweet corn. That's interesting, isn't it? They grow too big. You think mini sweet corn are going to be on mini plants. And just the same size as ordinary sweet corn, aren't they? But you get the mini cobs. Not keen on the taste of aji lemon chili. I'm still new to the world of chilies. I watched Tony's live with Chili Chump the other day, and they were talking about all these different flavors. And again, it's just another rabbit hole to go down, isn't it? But I would like to try a couple of new ones this year. Steve says full plot, £46 if in the parish, £80 if non-parishioner, and includes water. Okay, that's good. $200 for 200 meters squared. So metric. What's that? $200? Is that about £120? I don't know. 10 meters, 30 meters for the full plot. Okay. Full plot is £90 here in Brighton. Full plot, £46 in parish. Yeah, yeah. Ah, right. Okay. Yes, that's it, isn't it? So you harvest their waste. Isn't that lovely? Did you ever think you'd ever be saying that? You harvest the worms' waste as a nutrient-rich compost and fertilizer. That's what we were doing with the bokashi. And I've got to be honest, our bokashi bins, we haven't used them. I think we probably stopped using them around about Easter. But we've got to really want to start using them again this year. So that's a good reminder, because yeah, you get the tea that comes out the bottom. That's good. Okay. Trying more chilies. Yeah, I think the thing is with chilies, because I'm not keen on hot food particularly, I sort of think, well, why would I bother growing chilies? But again, it's like people say, you don't realise the difference in flavours. And I suppose it's like tomatoes. If you've never grown or tried different tomatoes, you've just had a shop bought tomato, why would you want to grow? Why would I want to grow more tomatoes? They're not very nice, or they're a bit tasteless, and it's only when you grow all your own, you've got all your different varieties. Like with anything, beans, prime example there. And yeah, so I feel like I haven't really given them a fair knock. Worm compost is the best seed sown compost I've ever used. Been using it for the past 3 years. Just add some sharp sand and vermiculite. So when you say, oh, euro, not dollar. Sorry, Bumblebee. Okay. When you say worm compost, Nigel, can you explain that? What is your worm compost? Is that out of a wormery? I know I sound absolutely mad here, but I know our Dalek compost bin, which was really annoying because you had to get the compost out the bottom, but that would be full of those red wrigglers at the bottom. And it was the most beautiful compost. So is that what you mean? Just increased to £20 for the full plot in my village. Oh my goodness. But my full plot is tiny in comparison to other side. You know what though, Christy? I was talking to someone the other day, and I think our old plot, I'm saying it was a half plot. It was more of a quarter of the size of the one we've got now. And I swear it was almost as productive, because I used to make use of every single space, down to a few inches. I'd put a pot, couldn't afford to have any wasted space. Whereas here we are spoilt for space. We could make much narrower pathways. We could put extra beds in, but to be honest, we just don't need it at the minute. Yeah, so come on, what wouldn't you do again? I know something I am going to try, something new this year. I'll have a sip of tea. And this is after seeing a video over at English Country Life, the ones who do the chickens, the lovely Buff Orpingtons. And they're very self-sufficient as they can be. And he was showing some ginger that he'd grown from a shop bought tiny little thumb-sized piece of ginger um, from the shop, obviously. And he'd compared the ginger from the shop with ginger that he bought from, I don't know, a garden centre, grew them both, and he got fantastic results off both. So ginger is something that we would probably use more of if we had more of. And I know that it's really easy to store because you can just either, keep it dry, or you can freeze it and grate it from the freezer as you want it. So I am super inspired by that, and I'm going to get some ginger from the shop. Apparently you have to give it a really good scrub first, because they might have sprayed it with some anti-growth spray, whatever that is, stop it sprouting, I would imagine. Give it a really good scrub, and then just pop it in one of those flower buckets, 12-inch bucket, and just leave it. And I think he said he did that springtime, so say March, April, and he was harvesting in December. And honestly, if any of you have planted tuber, well, with a potato, you plant one and hopefully you get quite a lot. But this was more like a dahlia tuber, so it was like he pulled it up, and it was like fingers all over the place. It was incredible. So yeah, so that's something I am going to grow this year. Let's have a look. You chop your ginger up into thumb-sized chunks, yeah, and freeze them. Yeah, try it, Tufty. I'm going to give it a go this year. I'll do a video at some point. The earth in the middle where the worms live, you can harvest only when they move into a new level of the compost. Yeah, I imagine so. You don't want to make those worms homeless. Bless them, they've got tough enough time. Have to get tea started. Look, thank you for joining in, Christy. It's lovely to see you. Happy New Year. You've grown ginger in pots. It doesn't like cold. Oh, okay. Oh, and turmeric as well. I wonder how you grow turmeric then. What do you grow that from? I don't know. Ah, Liz. Okay then. So did you get your ginger from a shop? Because I'd not heard about this scrubbing it before either. I would have just shoved it in. But it does make sense. Turmeric is tube. So turmeric will be the same again then, will it, Nancy? So you just grow that in a pot much the same way as ginger? You know what I mean. Every day's a school day, isn't it? It's lovely. It's lovely. But right, okay. On that note, oh my goodness, you know what? For something that was going to be just I'm going to sit down and see if I can get my live thing to work this year. It's actually turned into a really nice chat, and I'm really, really thrilled that you've all come to join on New Year's Day, first day of the year. Woo woo! We can start looking forward now. The days are getting longer. I actually, on my little app thing on my phone, it always tells you sunrise and sunset. And I looked at it this morning, and I said to my, oh, that's brilliant. The sunset is actually after 4 p.m. Today is on, I think it's 4:03 where I am. Whereas, the last few days it's been 3 something. So I do feel like we're moving towards brighter days, longer days. It'd be lovely. Okay. So on that note, I am going to go. It's been an hour and a half, and I'll be saying to my, oh, my throat's sore. I can't speak. Shut up for an hour and a half. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, hopefully videos back out soon, and have a lovely, lovely, lovely new year. See you soon. Bye for now.